Hello, fellow people. Welcome back again in space with me, Blinky, bringing you back to another Star Citizen build. Many of you know Star Citizen has been in development for many years now, since 2012 actually, and currently is still churning out new ships. As today, I am bringing you the MISC Reliant. The MISC Reliant is actually a starter ship again, next to the Aurora and the Mustang. The Reliant is a starter ship, so it comes with a basic package, but this one is different from those other two as it has a two-man crew. So, what are we looking at? We are looking at a small mini hauler with a cargo bay, two main engines, a wingtip mini turret, and on the other side we have some rocket launchers. Of course, with working landing gear, I have everything moving as should. Although I have to be discreet and say that I actually made a second model right over there, which has, say, less moving parts. But that's for in a bit. I'll show you why I did that. So here we are with our little character. I have to point out this is a character, of course, from our good friend Azimuth, which made, of course, our marvelous pilot seats, small doors, engines, whatnot. Like these small sections are Azimuth engines, but that's one of the big modders out there. Alongside, I shout out to another few modders. Tungsten female armor I used for the intro, made by CJ. Then Uncle Steve for his panels and armor slopes. Then Ryder for his modular afterburner, which I will demonstrate. Also available in the short intro, and they are visible here. Okay, so let's go in and see what this little bugger has to show us. First off, a ramp, of course, for your cargo pleasure. Just some panels. My name there. I'm really vain, sorry. Then we can see here two buttons. If I show them up, we see that this is the access rotor and the other one is the cargo ramp. So if you push that, the cargo ramp fits up nice and snug. So we won't tumble out, of course. Some minor gapping due to Space Engineer's engine. Then here we have midsection doors. I made the ship in the actual two parts, so it rotates. But this means there's a small gap in between. But I can air seal that with these, well, smaller hangar doors, which were made available for small ships by a mod. Also discussed later on in another video. I will not discuss every single mod I use for the ship, which are quite a lot. Going forward, we see we can also close the doors from here. And then we see that we have an air intake for the pilot seats and actually for this room. Seeing that it's now closed and green, we see that this is actually pressurized. So coming up in front here, we see the two pilot seats, one here, one there. And the nice thing about these seats is that they are also rotating alongside the ship when it is rotating in flight mode. This is giving us, of course, the issue that the ship won't fly if you sit in it, but I mitigated that by using a remote control block, which you see here on 3 and 4, which 1 and 2 give you the actual rotation, which I will not show you here on the platform. But with 3 we have access to our ship, and there we can play around with our air valves and the locking mechanism for the midsection, which is in my testing found to be helpful but not useful. With 8 we see we have the ramp again, and 9 we see that our joints are going down. This is the cargo, and I already broke something, I think. Oh well, that's the point. Oh, it was one of the non-necessary bottom parts I edited later on for the other version. Alright, so quick guide on how to fly this thing. We go to the next tab and see that there is the engine rotation for 2 engines, turning on the actual engines, the main engines these are, and these will handle your gimbaled mounts. So this one was 3, 4 and 5, with 6 increasing the standard engines, the afterburners, and with 9 and 8 increasing the super powerful made by another mod. Alright, so let's take off, shall we, for a bit. For this we need to disable the weight actually, because yeah, it's not that well of a ball. It's not that strong when not using the afterburners, so we just nudge it a bit forward and we can take off. Retracting landing gear, claps out because it's fancy, and then we can go forward in regular flying style. This relatively works up till around 50 miles an hour or something, meters per second I mean, when it starts to hitch and the actual parts start breaking loose due to the fact that it's so much weight attached to these single rotors. Speaking of single rotors, if you go out again, we have to turn back to our remote control, and there we can push 1 and 2 to rotate our cockpit and rotate our actual body. So here we see the main feature of the Reliant, having the 2 sections that will vary its fly modes. Let's see how this would actually function in a space engineer setting. So I want to use the main engines, so I'm turning up their velocity, and we see that the ship is actually moving. Let's turn off the dampeners, and we see it's fairly quickly increasing speed, but yes, there we have the but. The ship actually breaks apart at around actually 25 meters a second, still rendering you with a completely usable ship, as of course I hidden some thrusters inside, but this makes it less of a usable ship for space engineers and more of a model. So going on, we pass by our B-wing, which I will note a bit later. We come to the actual space engineers model, which I used again. These doors to close off, so you crouch down here, close them off here, and for the rest I removed all moving parts except for these doors. So still these midsections work, and these chairs still rotate as shown like this. I would suggest mounting them again on a stationary form, but this was still considering all the groups I set up, so you wouldn't lose them. So getting in here, see again we have our flaps. Only these flaps, the top one was also removed, and we have our engines turning on and off. And by actually using this kind of ship, we can actually use these engines in a WASD manner. So going up and going forward, we can directly see we can use these to our own discretion. And the wings are not that snappy, although still at a high velocity I would not suggest making a fast turn, as you see there's some glitching still with moving parts in Space Engineers. But oh well, that's minor things, and I think you can look around it and see that this is actually the Reliant from Star Citizen, only now in a functional manner in Space Engineers. Here, just for demonstration purposes, as I thought at the start of this, seeing the ship, seeing it move, seeing the different wings and the tip of the wing style looked like a B-wing from, of course, the original Star Wars trilogy, which I have roughly made here from vanilla blocks. It was one of my old projects, and it is in no way functional anymore. These wings used to retract and fold up. They don't anymore. I'll redo that later on. I have no interest in it now because there's enough to do, enough to see. I'm busy with my pod racers and whatnot. I hope you enjoyed this. Please don't forget to rate and subscribe. And I'll see you guys next time in the verse or here in the engineering bay.